Hello everybody, the name is Lumberlair Jr. and I am here with Mr. MELFI, who has just got done with his set for HOANG's, I'm saying right, HOANG's Heartstrings tour and the New York stop. And I have to say right off the bat, you pretty much definitely outdid yourself. We definitely had a few hiccups here and there. I definitely noticed that. I'm that type of guy when it comes to studying the sets. But you recovered, you kept going, and you absolutely blew the roof off the Bowery Ballroom. So I have to tell you, thank you so much for the work you're doing so far in your career. And needless to say, already I think we're about 3 years into this career, and already you're hitting so many amazing strides. Not only with being part of the Heartstrings tour with HOANG, but with so many others out there in the world. So I'm just curious to know, for this journey to begin, what made you want to go down this path?
So I guess where it really all started, I was in college and I'd been DJing for a while, in bars mostly every weekend, frat parties, that kind of thing. And then one day I was in the library, cracked out on Adderall, studying for a test, and I found this video of Virtual Riot and Andrew HOANG doing a 4 producers 1 sample video, and I saw Virtual Riot turn a piano sample into a bass synth and do all these crazy sound design techniques, and I was just blown away that that was possible. I never knew EDM could be like that, or any kind of electronic music could be like that. So
it was a normal producer bit, but at the same time it almost felt like a tutorial for you, right?
It was, yeah. It was my gateway drug into dance music, I would say. Producing dance music, for sure.
Understood. Although I'm surprised that it was that particular video and not a song made by him. I thought you were going to mention the song Energy Drink, one of his classics.
That was my first song I listened to by him. After I saw the video, I was like, who is this? And then I went to his Spotify, and I'm just like, this is an anthem. This is my, cause I used to play a lot of video games when I was growing up, so it was very much in tune with that mindset and that ethos, which I really loved. It was just so energetic and just vibrant. I loved it.
And with that song, you immediately just took to Ableton Live 9 and
cracked Ableton Live Lite, and then just downloaded Serum, and then just went after it. Didn't know songwriting, didn't know drum arrangement, song structure, music theory. I didn't know any of that stuff.
So after that, pretty much the rest was history.
Pretty much.
But it was a history that was starting to pave a way for your career and everything you've done so far. Not only just your music, from the very beginning song you ever made, Kuro's Return, which was quite the startup point. I mean that in the best way possible, because it really did solidify what we're possibly going to get from MELFI. But of course, time went on, you focused a lot more on being more technical, being more meticulous with your sound design. What kind of sparked that? Because it seemed like that type of way of really focusing on making sure each and every song would be worth playing live, worth hearing over and over again. Like you mentioned, 10 to 20 times, and you still know something brand new in said song. That's what makes it a masterpiece. So what got you into that mindset?
I think it's when I was listening to music as I was growing up, I would listen to the same stuff over and over again. And the stuff that I did like the most was when I listened to it, I would hear certain vocal chops or panning delays or some effect that would create a new sense of the song, and it would just kind of recontextualize it. So I wanted to emulate that in my stuff. And at the beginning, Kuro's Return is actually about a video game. It's about Ori and the Blind Forest. Kuro is the owl from the owl boss. So the whole song is this boss fight where you don't really fight the boss. You run from it, which is I thought was such a fascinating take on a boss fight, in a game. So you end up jumping off this giant tree into the water, so that after the first drop, it has that underwater
Wow.
That's what that was trying to emulate. Yeah.
Wow, that's I'm actually very surprised. It was the first game, right? Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori and the Blind Forest, yeah.
Wow, did you not send it to the game studios and see if they can maybe bring that into World of Whips?
That would be sick, dude.
Well, I'll look to make it into a trilogy, but talk to them, hit them up. Yeah. Maybe I could probably
do the OST, yeah.
Yes, but in the whole discography of MELFI, what is the one song that you said can be the song that you can hear 10, 20 times over, the hallmark of a good song? What song would that be?
Of mine?
Of yours.
Praise, dude.
It's Praise.
Praise, yeah.
With the collaboration with Alpha Moses.
That's correct.
And why that song?
I think that, for me personally, this is from the producer brain standpoint, right? That song took me 2 years to write that, to finish it, because I showed it to Moses, and that demo that I sent him, I listened to it today, and it is terrible. It was like a horrible, like compared to what it is now. So for me, I get to remember how it became itself, and like how I was able to transform it once he sent me the lyrics that he recorded. It like completely outshined the production. So I was like, how do I match the production to the lyrics and to the recording of the vocal? How do I embellish that from my end? Because he's definitely more musical. Like his brain is more musical. He looks at it differently. I'm very much like, you know, turn knobs, beep boop noises, that kind of thing.
Understood. And how did you and Alpha Moses like meet in the first place? Because first there was like, you know, you guys met, and then you had the collaboration with Praise. Not to mention a couple of times already, especially if we look at Manifest 2022, well 2023 I believe was second year. You collaborated with him and did a back-to-back with him,
That's right.
which I had a chance to like, you know, announce to the crowd. That was pretty incredible. How did it feel to like, you know, work with Alpha Moses, or like, you know, how did you guys meet him?
So I was doing a New Year's gig at the DL, or the Delancey, one of those, like on the rooftop, and I was doing the ball drop, and he was playing after me. I didn't know who he was, and he came by with his DJ board, and I had mine, so I'm like, how are we going to swap this while the music's still playing so there's no dropout? And he just knew what to do. He just like, oh, I got it, and he unplugged the right channel of the RCA cable on the back and plugged it into his controller, and I asked him like, oh, what should I, and he's like, no, I got it, and just like beat matched everything by ear. Smooth transition without any communication. I'm just like, what's your phone number? What's your Instagram? Like, you know what the fuck you're doing. And from then on, it was just like us inspiring each other in various ways.
So it took so pretty much it was like, I wanted to work with him when he just transitioned from like, you know, one set to the next.
Yeah.
It takes those like couple of seconds of just taking USB out and then just switching to the next one to like actually have the connection. That's kind of impressive. And it's like wow.
No communication. Just like
no communication.
We both just knew how it worked. Like we understand the equipment and like what we need to do.
And that's when the synergy like began with both of you guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now I gotta speak about a little stuff that you created, and this is something that I don't think many people really know regarding MELFI. Like, you know, you are your own like, you know, musical entrepreneur. You have your own studio called Untethered Studios.
That's right.
I gotta ask, how did that kind of come to be?
So I was making music by myself in my basement for a year in Brooklyn, and I needed to have some form of legitimacy. I knew that. Like, I needed to have a brand identity, and I didn't really know how to approach it, so I was like brainstorming ideas, and I'm like, what does my music sound like? Like, what is it? What's the experience? What's like the, I guess, feeling of it? And I came up with Untethered because it's like untethered from like what's, I guess, normal or what is to be expected, and just that kind of thought process. So like my music, what I like to do is like kind of rip the rug out from people and not really give them a sense of, I guess, comfort, which is like that cold tension in like sort of build-ups that I make. And the payoff is something that is completely different than what you're introduced to. I like that, so.
Understood.
Yeah.
But I was wondering though regarding Untethered Studios. Like, like is that where like a lot like, you know, some of the collaborations or like, you know, stuff you've done so far ever since that studio was made? That's all got created in there.
Yeah. So that studio was originally like a tiny little, you know, side room in one of my apartments in the Lower East Side, and then it became a little bit bigger in Bushwick, and then a little bit bigger in Queens. Now it's a garage.
Now it's a whole garage.
Now it's just a garage. Yeah. Or downsized. Rent is expensive in New York.
Understood. But the studio is like a little bit of studio still lives, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I about to say I thought it was like a little thing, and then the rent came up, and then it's like it was gone forever. But it's like no, Untethered can't be tethered like that. No.
Not tethered to the grave. No.
Okay, so how would you like? How would you like, you know, improve in that, or what is there like a vision you have for Untethered, like, you know, from like a garage to like actually, you know, having it in a studio in like a building where it's like, and you can have all this type of equipment or like, you know, stuff around you can like use to make your music or that type of thing, or any type of artistic vision come true.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've experienced is there's a lot of people who I've met who don't have a lot of people to support them. They don't have the financial support or the confidence support of friends or family or whatever, but they're very talented and they bring something new to the table. And I think that's really what I want to indulge the most in, is artists and people who are genuinely creative and who care about what they create and how it's represented, how they are represented in it. And that I want to build that environment for people, because I think it's important to breathe life into a community that is like kind of like not very popular. You know what I mean? So there's no like I'm playing Charlie XCX, you know, at my shows because people like it.
Right.
And that's great. And it's not like it's bad or it's good. It's just different. So like I like stuff that's different, and the people that like stuff that's different, I want to encourage that.
Understood. That's good to know. And I'll just put it out there. If you want to go have some like advice or how like make a studio that's like very fleshed out, that's like really has a name to it, that has an image to it, talk to the duo that is MEMBA, because they
are killing it right now.
They're killing it right now. That's and they had their own NYC studio in there, and that's absolutely freaking insane. I maybe you can talk to them, take a little tour through their studio, and see like what you can learn from it, because I feel like that would be absolutely amazing. Take some bit of advice from them, take a few inspirations from them, add it to Untethered, and see it just grow.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That's a really good idea.
Hey,
I know it's not that far.
I feel like there's so many artists out there who are like taking these risks, making these type of things out there, and all it takes is like just going up to them, talking to them, learn from their journey, and then taking a few of like their tidbits and adding it to yours to make yourself grow.
Right.
It's all about networking, all about collaboration.
For me, like the thing that I've been trying to figure out with Untethered is how to create value for people, and not just be like, oh, come collab with me in my garage. Like, how do what value do I bring? And I had to really think about that for a while. It's like, well, am I confident in my sound? I'm becoming so, I think. I mean, a lot of the demos I played today got a pretty good reception from people.
Right.
So, like, clearly do what they're supposed to do. Like, they're eliciting the response that I want. So, I think that if I can, like, put people on, if I end up being as big as HOANG and some of these other artists that are playing after me someday, like, I would want to put people who I believe in and who I trust on my ticket, for example, but also like just collaborate with talented people and share the things that make us great. You know what I mean?
Understood. Yeah. And again, it takes someone like HOANG. That's how you pronounce his name. Thank God. It takes someone like HOANG to like bring people like you and like Dream Driver and the Sad Boys and Johnny, bringing all these people in and giving them the spotlight as well. That's what's most crucial. That's what's most important. Yeah. Now speaking on that bit, maybe talk to ours out there, see what you guys can make together. I feel like there's so many talented people out there who you can just make magic with. Yeah, and I can hardly wait to see what's going to come next from MELFI. Now, speaking of which, your value, we got to talk about the mantra now. Yeah. What does MELFI stand for? Tell them.
So MELFI is an acronym, and it stands for Make Everyone Listen for Inspiration. Originally, I went through a couple of different life cycles of meetings that were inspired by things that I care about and that I like, but it didn't really feel like it was me, that it was mine. So I decided that is what I want people to be left with after what they listen to.
Understood. Yeah. And needless to say, from what I saw in the crowd, the inspiration is definitely building. It's definitely flowing through everyone's veins. If not everyone, then me. You'll see the footage too.
I saw the video.
Okay, flowing through my veins.
That's incredible.
Now, it begs the question now, with this brand new value you're bringing to yourself and you're building yourself up to, what is next for MELFI?
So I want to start releasing a couple singles in a row, like try to do one release a month for maybe 6 months.
One release a month?
Yeah, I'm trying to do drum and bass, UK garage, UK bass stuff. Like, I'm really inspired recently by that style of music. Like, I love the percussive elements in those songs and like how much like just depth and power some of those tracks have. I need to figure out like how to incorporate my sound into that style, and I think I'm getting closer and closer with some of the demos that I've been pumping out.
Understood.
But yeah, I'm excited about that stuff.
I can hardly freaking wait. And again, like we already talked about a bit already, speak to some of the people who are already doing that type of music, doing that type of energy, bringing that to the table. We already mentioned Yeti, we already mentioned Reaper, we already mentioned all these people out there who are doing something in drum and bass wise. Yeah. Heck, actually. His hat gave me inspiration. Talk to Blank, Aeon Mode. He's also absolutely killing it in his drum and bass project. So speak to him too. So there are so many people out there you can definitely speak to, and it can definitely help, not only boost, increase the value that is MELFI, but let people know that MELFI is one to watch, MELFI is one to see, MELFI is one to listen to. If I've seen the passion within you ever since I saw you at Synchro events, at the basement, in the Bass Olympics. You absolutely kill out there. So
for sure.
I want people to know and let people know that MELFI is here and here to stay, and his journey's only just begun. So MELFI, thank you so much again for your time and for blessing HOANG, the Heartstrings tour, and all these artists out there. Thank you, Bowery, Ballroom, for introducing him and letting him be a part of this. It's an absolute honor again. 2 weeks they told you in advance, and it was kind of sudden.
I mean, like,
but
I
you
did what I could. Yeah.
You did what you could, and you absolutely slayed it. I can hardly wait to see the highlights of said set. You absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so much.
Guys killed it. The sound guys did a really good job. Shout out to the sound guys and the engineers.
Sound guys, engineers, the visuals that you did yourself,
crazy. Yes,
the lighting.
yes.
You guys should give up to the entire team out there. They all did their thing 100%. Up on that stage.
Yeah, man.
So thank you all so much for all you've done. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Again, this is Level Air Jr. MELFI signing out. Love you guys so much. Peace.